one thing I'm thinking about is the fact that sometimes we want spectacular answers and spectacular life and spectacular things. And I was thinking about the simplest thing in the world. I was watching another video, and some guy was making a video that was like the way I make videos. They're basically kind of just saying things that are not very spectacular, but they are just simply true because they are just things you say honestly. You honestly say what you understand to be the case. And that is that basically being happy is really a matter of being content with things. I mean, happiness, we tend to think about it sometimes as in spectacular terms of exciting things. If somebody say, what are your happiest moments in life? And you think of things that are really like very way up there moments. But you don't think happiness, well, happiness is driving in my car, going to work, being on my way to work. But when I look back on it now, I realize I was happy when I hit a car. I'm happy now being on a train. I take the train every day. And it's funny because every single day I write, I have my computer with me. And I open up my computer and every day I'm writing. And I enjoy that. I kind of think back to when I had a car. That was one period of time when I actually enjoyed having my car. I enjoyed driving it. Probably more than most people did, even on my way to work. I would just look at things and marvel at the patterns of traffic and look at things and how everything was and how, and it's kind of funny because I look at the world kind of like the way a kid looks at the world. I think I've always been that way. I never grew up, in a sense. I always look at the world with a sense of wonder and awe, even at the simplest things. When I get up in the morning, like in a little while, when I take Missy out there for a walk, the sun is just coming up over Lake Michigan. And it's just beautiful to see the patterns of the different colors. As the sun comes up, it's like this orange color and everything else, and sometimes it's purplish color with the clouds a certain way. It's really amazing. And many times it's very quiet out there in the park because it's very early. In the summertime it'll be a lot busier, but it's nice and quiet. And those are moments, those things make up happiness. That's what happiness is. It's simple things. I could look at things in my life and dwell on what's wrong and be miserable. And I remember there was a time in which I was very miserable. And yet things were not bad in life. It wasn't tremendously bad. It wasn't what was going on in my life. It was what I was focusing on. See, I kind of think about this topic that I was thinking about, and about humility, about being humble. And I get to thinking about someone, about people in particular who feel that they have to change the world. I think that people want to change the world. I want to change the world in some ways, maybe in a way like other people do. But I also realize that you have to be humble about things too. You have to realize that every one of us work together to make changes. It isn't just one person. But sometimes you can think you're just one person and you're doing everything. There are times when I've done things at work, in other jobs I've been in, where there were a lot of injustices that were going on in places I used to work at. And I did a lot of things to help. But I actually realized it wasn't just me. But I did take the lead many times. I took the lead, but I didn't do all the work. If it was just me by myself, nothing would have changed. It was other people too. And sometimes I can let my ego get the best of me, and I start thinking I'm doing everything, and I'm changing everything, and I'm doing all this stuff. And sometimes you kind of get high on it. It's like a person getting high on drugs. You get high on your own ego that, I'm doing all this stuff. No, I'm not really. It's other people working together. We all work together to make things better. And sometimes you can lose sight of that. You can lose sight of the fact that other people cooperate with you. You can forget about that. And when you do that, when you actually forget that other people work with you and that you work with other people, you become miserable after a while because you get frustrated. You start expecting things to change faster. You know, change should happen overnight. You know, world hunger should end tomorrow. You know, the global warming situation should be reversed by now, and this, that, and the other thing. But you know what? Changes do happen. Things do get better. It isn't the result of one person. You know, slavery ended, but it didn't end because Abraham Lincoln did all the work all by himself. You know, it happened because of a lot of people doing things together. You know, even inventions and discoveries in medicine isn't the result of one person. You know, the discovery of penicillin. I think it was Alexander Fleming who discovered it. But you know, I was watching a thing on Nova, and they were talking about these other scientists who actually did more work on it than he did. In fact, if it was just up to him, we wouldn't have penicillin. These other people did a lot of stuff. They put in a lot of effort to make that work. But those people, you don't hear about them. Sometimes we live in a world where we think only one person does everything. But you have to realize that any type of change is really a team effort. It really is a team effort. Not a teen effort with teenagers, although they could get involved, but a team effort. Everybody working together in cooperation. People becoming aware that something is a problem. People doing something toward making things better. So every so often I have to stop myself and think, okay, wait a minute, Philip. Don't think that you did everything. You didn't do everything. But it's easy to fall into that illusion of thinking that you alone not only change everything, but you have the responsibility of changing everything. You didn't create every problem, and you're not responsible for solving every problem. It's just that the way it is, you know. Things happen in little steps. It's like little bitty steps that each and every one of us do. And when we all work together, things do change. The world does change. Yeah, miracles, and I like to use the word miracles. Miracles do happen. We do change things that on one level seem impossible, but on another, it's a piece of cake when we work together. It's just that simple. I mean, that's all I have to say.